As the war in Ukraine enters its fourth year, the conflict shows no signs of slowing down, with Russia launching some of its deadliest attacks yet, and global leaders scrambling to respond. On July 11, 2025, the world is watching as Ukraine faces intensified Russian drone and missile strikes, a high-profile assassination in Kyiv, and shifting U.S. policies under President Donald Trump. This is Pulse News, and we're breaking down the latest developments in this ongoing crisis. Over the past week, Russia has unleashed unprecedented barrages of drones and missiles across Ukraine, targeting the capital, Kyiv, and regions far from the front lines. On July 9, 2025, Ukrainian officials reported Russia's largest single-night attack of the war, with over 550 drones and missiles launched, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. Kyiv was hit hardest, with fires raging from falling debris and damage reported to the consular section of Poland's embassy and China's consulate in Odessa. At least 8 civilians were killed, including 5 in Radinske and 3 in Kostiantynivka, where Russian forces are closing in. On July 10th, another massive assault struck Kyiv, with Ukrainian emergency services battling fires in residential areas. A 66-year-old pensioner, Antonina, described the terror to Reuters. "You hear the explosions, and you don't know if you'll survive." Ukrainian air defenses managed to shoot down 14 Russian drones overnight, but the relentless attacks are overwhelming Ukraine's resources. In response, Ukraine has struck back, targeting Russian infrastructure. Ukrainian forces recently bombed a bridge in Russia-occupied territory, killing 7 Russian civilians and injuring 127, according to the escalates conflict exposure tool. Ukraine also claimed a successful strike on a Russian airbase on July 5, aiming to weaken Russia's military capabilities. These bold moves show Ukraine's determination to fight, even as its cities burn. Adding to the chaos, a Ukrainian intelligence officer was shot dead in a Kyiv car park in broad daylight on July 10, 2025. The assailant remains at large, raising fears of targeted killings amid the war. The incident, reported by The Independent, really underscores the growing dangers within Ukraine's borders, where the conflict's ripple effects are felt far beyond the battlefield. On the diplomatic front, U.S. President Donald Trump's approach to the war has been, well, a roller coaster. After pausing military aid to Ukraine last week, citing concerns over U.S. stockpiles, Trump reversed course on July 7, announcing resumed weapons deliveries including artillery shells and mobile rocket systems. Trump said at a news conference expressing frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin's refusal to negotiate a ceasefire, "We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin." Trump's comments came after a July 8 phone call with Putin, where he reportedly made no progress. Sources close to the Kremlin, cited by the New York Times, claim Putin believes Russia's battlefield superiority is growing, and Ukraine's defenses may collapse soon. This confidence has led Putin to dismiss Trump's calls for peace, focusing instead on achieving Moscow's goals, including the so-called demilitarization of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been rallying international support. At the Ukraine Recovery Conference in Rome on July 10, Zelensky met with Trump's envoy, Keith Kellogg, and Pope Leo XIV, discussing peace talks and reconstruction. Italy pledged €300 million for Ukrainian enterprises, while Germany and Norway offered to fund Patriot air defense systems to bolster Ukraine's defenses. Zelensky reported, quote, "Positive signals from the United States on resuming aid, but doubts linger about long-term American commitment." The human cost of the war is, well, just staggering. Over 122 million people worldwide are displaced, with Ukraine's conflict contributing significantly to this crisis, which is also compounded by climate-related challenges like flooding. In Ukraine, at least 85 civilians were killed by Russian attacks in regions like Donetsk, Kherson, and Kyiv between June 21 and July 27, 2025. Ukrainian forces have also caused civilian casualties in Russia-occupied areas, really highlighting the war's devastating reach. Globally, the conflict is, reshaping alliances and economies. Russia's confiscation of $50 billion in company assets signals a shift to a so-called Fortress Russia model, while Ukraine's reconstruction is estimated to cost $585 billion, according to the World Bank. The war's ripple effects are being felt in energy markets, food security, and international stability, making it, as one U.S. official put it, a shift in the world order. As Russia ramps up its attacks, Ukraine is doubling down on resilience. Deals with the UK and Thalis for air defense missile supplies, and plans to scale up drone production really signal Kyiv's determination to fight on. However, posts on X suggest Ukraine is bracing for a long-term conflict, with no quick end in sight. One post from Kyiv Post on July 8 noted, Ukraine no longer counts on a quick end to the war, and is preparing for a long-term fight. At Pulse News, we're committed to keeping you informed as this crisis unfolds. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the world is watching. What do you think the international community should do to support Ukraine? Should the focus be on more weapons, peace talks, or humanitarian aid? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and follow Pulse News for the latest updates on this critical story.